Special Operations, Covert Ops, Espionage, The Team House, with your hosts, Jack Murphy and David Park.
And then the end of Blackwater, even though Erik didn't sell it to 2010, and I advised him on that sale, came in 2007 with the Nisour Square shooting.
Right. Now, can you tell us, for the people who may not be old enough or may not just remember, what was the Fallujah incident and then the Nisour Square incident?
Well, the Fallujah incident, Blackwater was running, I think it was a couple food trucks through Fallujah, and they had a security detail of 4 folks. I think it was 2 former Rangers and 2 former SEALs. And basically they just got ambushed. So they got ambushed and they got executed immediately in their cars. And then their bodies got dragged out of the cars, got dragged through the streets, burned, and eventually hung from a bridge in Fallujah. And I forget those people that are too young to remember this, but that was a searing image for all of us, looking at those bodies of those 4 American veterans hanging from that bridge in Fallujah.
Yeah.
And ultimately that led to, I think it was the 5th Marines and some other regiments had to move into Fallujah, and basically they went house to house and destroyed that town over the next 12 months.
And then Nisour Square, you made some references in the case of both of these incidents that you felt they didn't have to happen, that there were questions that weren't asked, there were oversight that didn't happen. I mean, from your point of view, what should have happened? Why do you think those incidents happened?
Well, from my understanding, in Fallujah, it was a matter of the folks hadn't been in country long. They weren't given the proper orientation to what was supposed to be done and what the environment looked like. And they went out completely unprepared to be ambushed. I think they were in a goddamn sedan at the time that they were ambushed. So, I mean, it was, they weren't equipped properly. They weren't oriented properly. They didn't have the right maps, and they just flat out got ambushed. Brave men, good military guys, and I don't think things worked out. It just wasn't right. By the time we got to 2007, though, in Nisour Square, you got to remember, when I talk about the Fallujah guys, those were all special operators, right? By the time you look at the guys that got convicted in 2000 for the 2007 Nisour Square Massacre of those civilians, those were not special operators. Those were young Marines, young soldiers, E4s and E5s that hadn't spent a lot of time in theater, maybe none at all. Right. And so you got a completely different situation when you pull into a town square and think you're taking fire, but you're not taking fire, and you're trying to figure it out. And the guy to your left starts shooting, and you're wondering, did I just get shot at, or was that an outbound? And then all of a sudden there's 17 dead civilians. So by the time we got to 2007 at Blackwater, it was really a matter of they had thrown so many people into the theater so quickly that you went from having top-notch tier 1 operators to run-of-the-mill Marines. And I'm a run-of-the-mill Marine, so I get that. And, my training wasn't such, and I've been in combat, I've been in firefights. But I tell you, my first firefight, I'm trying to figure out where did that just come from? Who's shooting? Am I shooting? Where's it coming from? And I think we had folks that weren't qualified to be there behind machine guns and with automatic weapons in a very crowded roundabout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I that's something that definitely happened, especially with the security companies, is when the war first kicks off, you can get, Delta and SEALs and Rangers and SF and these guys because, they got out. Now they're, you're giving them $600-800 a day. But then as the contracts get more competitive and you run out of those guys who are willing to deploy, right? I mean, there's only so many, veterans of, from those units, but you still need to push the numbers, and you start getting anybody who has a DD 214.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much it.